Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my March TBR. I'm doing something a little different, but not something that's like totally like unheard of or anything that's like crazy out there. I had my family pick my books for this month. So I have a total of 6 books on my TBR. I have my mom and my dad, and then I have an older sibling. So I had each of them pick 2 books. My mom and my sibling both picked books that they wanted me to read. My dad, however, he reads mostly fantasy, but a lot of the books that he reads, he knows I probably wouldn't like, as well as the fact that he was very busy with work this month and literally just got back from an overseas trip. So he kind of just like picked books off of my shelf for me. So his might seem more like up my alley than everyone else's. And that's why I just wanted to preface that. He didn't have as much time to kind of come up with stuff. And I also had to make sure that these books, if I didn't have the physical copies of them, that they were on Kindle Unlimited because I didn't want to pay for them. So that also kind of shortened the list of possibilities because my dad had a few ideas and then it was like, they're not on Kindle and I don't want to pay for it. So hence the whole like, well, do you want to just pick from my shelf? And he was like, okay. And I was like, great. So like I said, each person picked 2 books. I'm going to start with my mom and then go down the line. But yeah, that's what I have for you guys today, and I hope you guys enjoy. I hope this is like a more fun way to kind of see what I'm reading. I'm trying to be a little bit more diverse in the reading this year, both with the authors that I'm reading, as well as the genres that I'm reading, so I felt like this was a way to kind of do that. So yeah, let's just get into the video. Okay, so the first book that my mom picked was The Women by Kristen Hanna. So my mom absolutely loves Kristen Hanna. I know that she read a couple books by her last year, and then for Christmas asked for like so many of them. I don't even know. I think she might have all of them. I'm not even sure. And I don't know if I've said this on YouTube or not. I feel like maybe I said it on Instagram. I don't know. I have been very interested in reading The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna for a while. I just never picked it up. And so I thought that that's might have been what she was going to give me, but I know that she has talked about The Women many of times to me, being like, I think you really like it, blah, blah, blah. And I know it's a historical fiction, so it's still fiction. I did make it clear. I was like, please no nonfiction. I know that they all have nonfiction books that they want me to read, but it's so hard for me to read nonfiction, especially during the school year, because I'm doing so much of that already for school. So maybe in the summer, I'll let them, I'll be like, okay, I'll put those on my TBR this month or something, but for right now, I didn't want nonfiction. So I was like, okay, historical fiction, it's still fiction, but it'll still give me like a more realistic vibe. Like, okay, these are more based off of true events type of thing. So I'm definitely intrigued. I know a lot of people like Kristen Hanna's writing, and I feel like I probably will too. I'm not worried about not liking it. I actually remember when she was reading this and she actually read me an excerpt of something. So it'll be funny when I get back to that part. I'll be like, oh my god, wait, I've read this before. But yeah, that was the first book that she wanted me to read because she has been like nonstop talking about specifically that book, but just Kristen Hanna in general to me. So it wasn't a total surprise when I said like, oh, like, can you pick books? And my mom's like, yes, I can, and guess what? I know exactly which one. So that was the first book that she picked. Okay, so the second book that my mom picked, I do have the physical copy of, and that's kind of part of why she picked it. And that is the 50 Shades of Grey series, but specifically just the first book I'm putting on the TBR. She was like, you don't need to put the whole series if you don't want to, even though you'll likely want to read through the whole series. Because Mama has read it. And it's really, honestly, it's really funny. I remember asking for these. I don't think I would have been too young to read them based on the other things I was reading at the age that I was. I think I was like 16 or 17. But my mom was like, I am not buying those for you. This is not happening. So I bought them for myself, I think like a year ago, something like that. So I was like 18 or 19 when I bought it. But I still have not read them. I want to because like I feel like it's one of those things where like there are just certain books in a genre that like I'm not saying you have to read, but like are kind of like when people think of a romance genre, like or like smut, like this is one of those series that like comes to like everyone's minds. And I just really want to read it and like I want to know. Especially because I've heard people say that they really like the books but not the movies. So I feel like I am curious to see how different they are because I have seen the movies. But she was like, girl, just like, this is me trying to get you to read your physical TBR. I was like, oh, thanks, Mom. I need the help. So this is a book that she put on there. I know it seems a little silly, but I have heard good things about the books themselves. Like I heard like it has more of a plot than the movies, so I am definitely curious. But I'm only gonna put the first one. I'm not gonna put the whole series, even though again, I'm sure reading one will trigger me wanting to read the rest. Especially because if this ends how like the first movie ends, I'm probably gonna be like, I need to start the next one. So definitely very intrigued. But it's like weird. Like I don't say like that it's long, but like the pages are like really thin and low-key kind of have small writing. So like it feels like it's gonna be really long. But also guys, like how floppy it is. Sorry, I know it's a little off topic, but I just love floppy books. However, I will say, I know that E.L. James came out with, yeah, it's right here, Gray, Darker, and Freed, which are these books, but from Christian's point of view. And I feel like that has to be really interesting. So if I do end up liking this enough that I wasn't just like, okay, like, whatever, I might want to read those because I feel like that could be very interesting to read from his point of view. But yeah, this is the second book that my mom picked for me, and I guess the final book that my mom picked for me as well, because like I said, each person picked 2 books, so. Okay, so the next book on my TBR was given to me by my sibling Kira. So they picked Oathbound by Tracy Deonn, which, if you guys don't know, is the 3rd book in the Legendborn. It was originally going to be a trilogy, but now there's going to be 4 books, so it's a series now. And I have read Legendborn and Bloodmarked both. I actually just finished rereading Legendborn, and I'm currently rereading Bloodmarked because Oathbound comes out, I think, March 4th? March 5th? No, I think it's the 4th. I don't know, early March. And so I kind of thought they might, but I also thought like maybe they wouldn't because they already kind of knew I wanted to read it. But silly little me sent the pre-order to my house. So I will have to wait until my spring break, which is like mid-March, to be able to actually get the physical copy to read. So oopsies, my bad. But I will hopefully read that in March. That one I feel like out of all the books on there, even though I know that 50 Shades is a romance, because I'm in the middle of the Legendborn series, I feel like it's the most likely of the ones that I'll read. And I really do want to try to make sure that I try reading all of these books, like, within reason. But I'm also not gonna lie to you all, if I am not enjoying it, I'm not gonna force myself to read it. Like, this is the whole point of this, is to kind of try to expand and see what I like and don't like. So let's just say, for example, not saying I will, but if I start the historical fiction, The Women, and I'm not enjoying it because it's just not my vibe, I'm not going to force myself to read it. Because forcing myself to read things I don't like puts me in a reading slump. Like, I don't want to do that. So I'm going to be honest with myself and try to, you know, push through if it's just a little boring or something, like, okay, maybe it'll get better, you know, whatever. But if I'm truly like, I'm not enjoying this, I'm not going to force myself to finish it. So Oathbound, I think, is the most likely that will be read and finished, I can almost guarantee you, in March. So I'm very excited for that one. And then the second book that they picked was Song of Achilles. So I think, if I remember correctly, they read this last year, I think. They had gotten like a special edition of it and was like, oh, like this is pretty or whatever, and they read it and they really liked it. And I know that it used to be like an OG Book Talk book. Like I remember 2020 when I was, you know, had gotten back into reading but wasn't like as like obsessed with it as I am now. Was just scrolling through TikTok more casually, but like I remember seeing that being like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And I never read it. So I still have it. I don't have a physical copy of it, but my sibling said it's on Kindle Unlimited, so I guess this month seems like maybe it'll be the time that I try. I don't know, I feel like this one could be a very hit or miss for me. I feel like I'll either love it or I'm gonna hate it, and I'm very nervous. Hopefully it's either a love or at least a like. I hope I don't hate it. But I've heard people like say like it changed their lives, and I'm like, whoa, okay, I don't know if I'm ready for that, guys, but okay. So we'll definitely see. But I have now on my TBR a historical fiction, a romance, a fantasy, and like, I don't even know what I want to call Song of Achilles. I don't know. And then a Song of Achilles. I'll just say that. It's its like own little genre. I don't even know what to categorize it as. I feel like there are so many different ways I could categorize it based on the like things I know about it. Okay, so the first book that he picked was A Fate Inked in Blood, which if you're looking at this and you're like, why does that sound familiar, but I've never seen this cover? It is a Probably Smut special edition cover of this book. I don't really know how to describe the cover of the first one. I'm pretty sure she's like it's like a woman, and I'm pretty sure she has blonde hair, and like I have like the sprayed edges of it. It's like blue because I have the original one too. But Probably Smut did a special edition of this, which means I get to annotate this one, which I think is so exciting. I've been wanting to. Oh, the letter. I love when they write letters and not just like sign the book. I always think that's so fun. But if I remember correctly, I think this is like a Viking kind of fantasy romance thing. But my dad, literally, it's the first one on my fantasy shelf, and I think he just looked up the blurb of it, and you know what, I don't think he was totally like you, so I think he was like, how about that one? But I don't have that many fantasy books currently like on my bookshelf that I haven't read, so I think that's part of it too. But I was definitely very happy he picked this one. I have been wanting to read this one for a while, and I know the second book comes out this year, so if I can get this done, that would be great. I'm also really hoping, if I do like it, if I don't like it, it won't make that much of a difference to me, but I do hope that if I like the book, I hope that Probably Spot Book Box will make like however long the series ends up being, like books to match this, because I do think it'll be cool. But in case they don't, that's why I have the original cover, because I wanted it with like the sprayed edges, because it was like a shimmery blue. Like I feel like usually when it's just a solid color, it like is more like a matte, but it was like shiny and pretty, and I was just like, you're coming home with me. But I brought this one to school with me because I want to annotate it, and so reading it the first time, I want to annotate it the first time instead of rereading and stuff like that in case I don't like it. Also, I'm looking for it to see if I can figure. I'm pretty sure the main character's name is Feyre, which is really gonna mess with my brain because I know that's the main character in Akadar, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, Freya. Maybe it's Freya, not Feyre. I think it's Freya, actually. But yes, this is the first book that my dad picked. Then the second book that my dad picked was also the first book on my romance shelf. So again, I'm not sure. Maybe he was just kind of like, oh, read these two. I don't know. But either way, I'm happy with this pick, so I don't really care how he came to it. But that is Heartless Heathens by Santana Knox. So I literally know nothing about this book, about this author, about this series, because I'm pretty sure it's a series. I know nothing. I got sent this by Cover to Cover Book Box, because it's a special edition, which I'll show you in a second. I don't know anything about it. Like, I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. I'm pretty sure it's a romance though. That's why it's on my romance shelf. But this is like what the cover looks like, the special edition. And then like these are like what the sprayed edges look like, which I love this edition of it. I think it's gorgeous. So I really do hope I like the book. But yeah, oh my god. Guys, look, it has the ribbon bookmark. Okay, I am such a sucker for books that have the little like built-in bookmark. I just think it's so cute. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very intrigued. I think it's supposed to kind of be like a, how do I explain this without it sounding really controversial and bad? Like, I don't want to say anti-religion because that sounds bad, but I just think it's supposed to be kind of like how The Handmaid's Tale is kind of like taking a religion and making it like on steroids, which, not to get political here, but I'm gonna get political here for a second. Not really anymore. I think that's kind of what this is supposed to be like, I think, based on what my dad was saying, but he also didn't explain much. He just kind of stated like a little bit. And I want to say it was a boarding school. I looked it up once and I can't remember. I want to say it was a boarding school romance too, which I think would be very interesting, but that might have been a different one. I can't remember. I should have looked this up to make this better for this video, but I didn't, so I'm sorry. But yeah, this is the second and final book, A, on my TBR, and B, that my dad picked, so. Okay guys, so that was my video for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and if you did, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I know that, like, as a person who watches a lot of YouTube, I forget to like videos all the time. Like, I will leave, and like, it'll be like an hour later, I'll be like, I didn't like that video. Like, I don't know, there's just something about it that like, watching it, it makes it feel like it just should automatically like it, but it doesn't. Which I know why it doesn't. It makes sense. I just like, my brain, I think, just kind of goes there, especially when I'm enjoying it. So like, no worries if you forget. I literally forget all the time. I totally get it. But it is nice to see the little like button get some numbers on there. But yeah, I do hope that you guys all enjoyed. I hope you guys liked how I picked my TBR this month. If you guys have any ideas for other ways you want to see me pick my TBR for future months, let me know down in the comments below. I'd be happy to do that. Oh my god, I'm sorry. My eyelash, like both eyes just all of a sudden like had an eyelash poking me. I'm more flexible during the summer months with what I can do with my TBR because I have way more books at my disposal because I'm at home. But I would still be willing to do more like I know people do like board games and stuff like that. Like I would still be happy to do that if you guys want to see that for like April or May or something, which oh my god, saying April or May TBR is actually kind of terrifying because what do you mean I'm almost like halfway through my semester? What? No, that can't be right. Yeah, it's crazy how like slow I feel like the semester has felt, but also how quick. Like if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like that didn't make sense, but I think you know what I mean. But anyways, that was my video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are all having a great day, week, whatever. I think my next video should be my reading wrap up for February. And then after that, I think I'm gonna do like a reading vlog of some sort. So let me guys know, would you guys want a, and you can just comment down below. Would you guys want more of like a reading vlog style where I'm like reading like a book or a series for the reading vlog? Or would you want it more to be just like, oh, here's what I read this week. So like on Monday, I read this many pages and like some video of me reading. And then like Monday through, you know, Sunday or something like that. Or the like more like specific book related or series related. And I'll kind of see what you guys comment and kind of decide from there what I feel like I should do for this specific one. I'm definitely probably gonna do both in the future. Just depends on which one I kind of do now versus later. Because I feel like reading vlogs are something that a lot of people just like enjoy. Like, I don't know, I like honestly just kind of having like that vibe of like, okay, like I'm reading with this person and then they like stop, they talk about it. And especially when it's like a book I've read, like that makes it easier. But I don't know, I think it would just be a fun thing to do and honestly kind of an easier thing, I'm gonna be honest, to film because I read all the time, so really all I gotta do is put the camera on and hit record. So like it doesn't really take that much energy out of me to do it. It's more just the editing that takes a little bit more time, but I'd be happy to do it for you guys. So just let me know. We almost made it, guys, through like a whole video without me messing up my words. I speak so fast. I'm so sorry. So just comment down below which one you would prefer. And if you just don't have a preference, you can also comment that down below. And I will just decide, I guess, for myself. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and I will see you guys next time. Bye.